If you want to know how I use my 96 pan palettes from Coloured Raine, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène, and yes, we're going to talk about mega magnetic palettes today, and I want to preface it by saying I have everything from 4 pan all the way to 96 pan. So 4 pan, 9 pan, 16 pan, 25 pan, 36 pan, and then the big guy. They all serve different purposes. Okay, I just decided to take out everything that I have as far as magnetic palettes to show you the range and to offer the benefits and drawbacks of each one. So here is a 4 pan palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. You can get a 4 pan palette like this from Sephora for $1. If you go to the singles under Anastasia, you will find, if you scroll far down enough, you will find these for $1 a piece. You can get, I think, 3 at a time. And they are very good. They're very good at keeping single shadows in. And you can, I think you can see it, you can pop them out quite easily. And all I do is, for quite of the month, I write the name on the back for each one of the shadows. And I find them extremely convenient, and I have quite a few of these. Next up is a very robust palette. Now, it doesn't have a clear cover. None of the next ones do. But it does hold 6 of these huge Makeup Forever pans. Look at the size of these things. Or 8 pans of other regular shadows. It has a very nice mirror, and the magnet on these palettes is the best I've come across. So I highly recommend them, and you can get them, I think they're around $3 when you get some singles from Makeup Forever. So, but I think you can buy just the empty one, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure anymore, but they are fantastic, and I have 3 of them. I really love them. And for travel, I end up using 2 for eyeshadows and 1 for face products. And it takes care of all my powders when I travel. Really, really great. If I don't decide to take a face palette with me, they are my option. Next is a 9 pan palette from Tarte. And it too has a mirror. And in this case, I'm keeping a number of singles, odds and ends. The Sephora singles make up the most of it, but I also have those 3 1/3 shapes from Annabelle and just a rogue Makeup Forever shadow right here. So, and I don't mind this little Makeup Forever shadow because it also fits in the Viseart palettes, those little tiny Petit Pro. So anyway, I really enjoy this magnetic palette. It's a very convenient size, and it's also a great size for situations where I want to take out some singles and put them in an arrangement for maybe a request that I've received for specific types of singles from a certain brand or that kind of thing. These smaller magnetic palettes are pretty great for that kind of an activity. And speaking of, this 16 pan palette from Coloured Raine is one that I used to replicate, at least for the overlap between my shadows and a subscriber's shadows. The shadows that we had in common, so that I could help with some looks, and I did quite a few videos with this arrangement to help some folks out, and will likely do some more Clionadh looks going forward because it was really well received. But that is why a smaller palette is nice. You can arrange a specific number of colors without having something too big. And especially if it is temporary, you want to be able to move it around and use it because it's obviously shadows that you want to do high frequency use of, at least for a period of time. And these are $7, I think, off the Coloured Raine site. So I highly recommend. Plus, they look so pretty, really pretty. Now, as far as generic design, I think these palettes are the best. I don't know if they carry them anymore, but this is the Tarte Leopard Print Magnetic Palette, and these are 25 shadow palettes. And this one's empty but dirty. But anyway, it has a full-size mirror, very nice, and you can see how big it is compared to my head. And it will hold 25 shadows on the bottom here. So I think that that is a very nice amount of singles that you can hold in here. And I'm talking about the usual, I think it's 26 millimeter, the usual size for the round pans. It will hold quite a bit. And I have quite a few of these because I put them on the side, and the pattern, the leopard print pattern on each one is very different, so I can tell them apart pretty easily. And I put them as a gradient because I'm just that kind of person. But I am such a sucker for leopard print that it is by far my favorite design as far as a generic palette. Now, as far as my favorite cover design for a palette, there's no contest. The Clionadh magnetic palettes are gorgeous. They're so beautiful. And I have two of them, and I will have a third one coming my way. And these just house Clionadh shadows for me. And this is a smaller amount. This is actually the palette that has the least in it. As far as my Clionadh collection, obviously you saw some other ones in that 16 pan palette. But the design on this is so beautiful that I love just staring at it. And frankly, as far as color combinations, sometimes it does inform my creative ideas. So I really appreciate having this design, and it would take a lot for me to part with it. So I know I really, really like it. Okay, so we've covered 4, 6, 9, 16, 25, 36, and now we are good to go with the 96, which is the one that I introduced initially by Coloured Raine. By the way, speaking of Coloured Raine, if you are curious to see how I came up with this look, then I will put the video right there. And this one I think is, so this is the empty one. So let's just take a look right here so you can see it compared to me. And it looks quite big, right? And it has an equally big mirror, which I haven't taken the plastic off. Why would I? I don't really use the mirror for my purposes on this, but I'm not to say that I wouldn't. And I chose this one because there are 3 on the Coloured Raine site. There's a pink, purple, and then this black one, because I like the fact that it's very sleek and nondescript. So I store them this way. I could also obviously store them this way. I just like the fact that it's very neutral and not too showy. And that's really what got me excited about this kind. And I had the first time ordered 2, and then realized that I needed one more for the purposes of managing all of my singles that I don't consider specialty singles. For example, for me, Clionadh, those are specialty singles to me. So let me show you what I have here. Most of them are depotted palettes. So here is the 96 pan palette, and I have curated the pans, and up to this point, everything to the left of this point, those are all Juvia's Place shadows. You may recognize in the top left-hand corner, that is the Magic palette. The bottom right-hand corner, or bottom left-hand corner, is the Masquerade palette. And I also have the Saharan and another one, which is not coming to mind right now. Bottom right-hand corner, sorry for the bling here. Bottom right-hand corner is the Coloured Raine Queen of Hearts, and upper right-hand corner is the Vivids, also by Coloured Raine. So that is how I have this whole palette curated. So they are, in essence, indie brands that are Black-owned brands. So that is a whole set of shadows of singles. And the reason I have them set aside, Black-owned brands, is the intensity of the pigments. They are, bam, right there, colorful eyeshadows, and to me they have a level of saturation that is not typical of lower cost brands. It's just my opinion, but that is what is in there. And here is another palette. Again, of course, the Coloured Raine 96 pen. And I have two palettes from Morphe here. I have the 39A and the 39S. And I also have some Jaclyn Hill palette shades in here as well. Now, some of these are also located in my Anastasia quads, and that is because I decided to keep all of the quad of the month from last year intact. I haven't put them back in with only the other palette of indie brands. I showed you the Juvia's Place and Coloured Raine I've put back, but these I just kept the Morphe shadows where they were. And so I will not have enough room in this palette to house them all when I take them out of the quads, and hence the new palette. As well, I am getting more into indie brand singles, and I will eventually need a little bit more room for all of those that are coming all sorts of different shapes and sizes and pan sizes. And I wanted to make sure to have another 96 pan palette to house those when I'm not actively using them. If I'm actively using them, you saw the smaller Coloured Raine palette, I would transfer it to a smaller magnetic palette, either that one or the camo from Tarte or the leopard print from Tarte. But they're my starting point. They're my bird's eye view, see what I have, figure out what it is that I want to use, and sideways like this on my counter, I can lay them all three side by side and just have a full view of all of the singles that I have that I may want to use for different projects. So that is how I use the 96 pan palettes. I don't use them to do my makeup. I use them to decide what it is that I want to pull out if I'm not pulling out a palette, and set them aside in a curated set so that I can use it for a period of time. Sometimes it might be a day, sometimes it could be as long as a month. But at least I have a very easy time seeing everything without having to go from palette to palette to figure out where things are. So that's why I like these palettes. So that is it. That is an overview of the 7 different types of magnetic palettes that I have in my collection. What I use them for, what I like, don't like about each one. I really don't have anything I don't like about much of anything that I have. But just to give you an idea of why I would have different types of palettes for different uses. And they all are in rotation. They all get used regularly. And it's amazing to me how often I'm so happy to have a specific type for specific use. So I don't have anything to add. I hope this video was of some use, especially since I had some, well, at least 2 questions come my way on them. Please let me know if you have any questions or thoughts on this specific type of product. I would love to hear. But for now, I will say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every single time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.